In April 1978, the government was asked to approve grants worth £33.5 million for a car factory proposed by US businessman John DeLorean. In a memorandum to government, Industry Minister Des O'Malley admitted the DeLorean project was speculative, but said the people involved were well qualified. He added there were obvious risk areas in the project, but there were also real national benefits, particularly 2,000 jobs.
When the IDA authority, after quite a bit of debate, and I think a division of opinion by a majority, decided to recommend it, obviously I thought the government would have to take it very seriously.
I secretly met him on St. Patrick's morning at 7 o'clock. I spent 2 hours with him to get him to flush out the details of his project. DeLorean was not very forthcoming.
The Department of Finance, predictably, wasn't impressed by the request for money.
It is unfortunate that the government has been asked to commit state funds of this order to such a speculative operation.
The government approved the grants, but the minister's enthusiasm didn't survive a meeting with John DeLorean in Dublin's Shelburne Hotel.
When the lunch was over and he went back to New York, and I put my head in my hands for about a quarter of an hour, and then I picked up the phone and I rang Michael Keary, who was the head of the IDA and who had refused to come to the lunch because he wasn't in favour of this thing. And I said to him, Michael, I think you're right. I don't think we should go on with this. I'm not impressed with this fellow. And he said, thank God.
But the British government stepped in with even larger grants. 3 years later, the first cars were produced in Belfast.
A £100 million gamble could be about to pay off. These cars, 400 of them, are on their way from Belfast to the west coast of America. This is the first consignment of the controversial DeLorean sports car, the stainless steel dream machine built in Belfast for the American super-rich.
Yeah, I drove a DeLorean from the docks in Baltimore, a distance of about 20 kilometres. My main memory is not being able to lift the side window to put money in a toll machine. There was no wind-down window, and once, of course, you lifted up the gull-wing door, you couldn't get the money into the toll booth. But it wasn't the most auspicious of starts for his flashy car.
DeLorean turned out to be a disaster and a narrow escape for the Irish government, but it wasn't the only futuristic and controversial project on the agenda in 1978.